Hey guys, welcome into Lucky Top Sports. I'm your favorite host who went 0 for 7 last week, Josh. Joined here with Naveen and Andrew, and I'm just gonna cut right to it, man. Got a lot of flack this week, with all my best bets. They probably weren't the best bets that I've ever had, but I definitely went, sour on the win column there, and I got a big old goose egg this week. 0-7. I didn't think Georgia Tech would beat Miami. I didn't think that Nico would get a concussion in the first half, and we'd have Gaston Moore coming out in the second half. So, Tennessee let me. I mean, just top to bottom. I mean, there were so many chaotic things that happened this past week. So, Naveen, do me a quick favor, man. Can you bring up the chart and go through my 0 for 7 picks from last week just to recap them a little bit? Yeah. So USF, okay, maybe, but Miami, no one saw that coming. After the first possession of Ole Miss, I thought, man, my Georgia one was a lock. You got Jackson Dart coming out and throwing a dart to Georgia's defense and them taking it back the other way. Fuck, man, yeah. It was a lock for about a minute and a half there in the first quarter. And then just after Lane put in the backup, when Jackson Dart went out, it was just complete and total devastation. I tried to fade. I tried to kind of buy the win for LSU versus Bama, but it just didn't work out. If you go back and you listen to the show, I mean, I told you that Alabama was going to roll, but I tried to fade myself and buy the win there. Didn't work out. And Vanderbilt, they couldn't beat the Fighting Chase Coxes. They just couldn't do it. As much as you've heard about, Pavia and how Tennessee should be worried about, playing Vanderbilt, in a couple weeks. Yeah, miss me with that. I think USC Junior exposed Vanderbilt for what they really are. And, that in turn also exposed me. So, but for all the haters out there, I can tell you right now, I was lead most of the year. And if you think you can do better, then hey, man, go ahead and try to fade me this week. I got, let's see, not to be a spoiler, 8 picks this week. And if you think you can do better than me, fade me and let me know in the comments. But let's talk about some winners. We've already talked about the loser. Naveen, you had a pretty, I wouldn't say stellar week last week, kind of pedestrian.
Pretty bad, but close to my average, to be honest with you. So I was 4-6. I will say I got both of the games that we previewed correct. I had Bama and I had Ole Miss. Josh's least favorite team, Penn State, I also had.
That's right.
And I had Clemson. I lost on Miami, as we talked about. I tried to fade a Service Academy.
Army, baby.
On a podcast
with Black Knights.
Service member. Fishy stuff. Tennessee, yeah, got cucked by the concussion. BYU should not have even won this game. They won the game, but they did not cover 3. USF, I tailed Josh, and Vanderbilt was a pick that I thought was trendy pick given what they've been doing, but got absolutely smoked by South Carolina. Let's get into this week's picks, though. Andy, let's start with you. What are you looking at for this week?
Well, it's I guess I'll start with the Colorado game. Utah plus 11. I thought they looked really good, as Naveen mentioned, versus BYU. Should have really won the game. I still think Colorado wins, but I'm not seeing that they cover here. I think there's a good chance it comes down to probably like a backdoor touchdown game. Florida versus LSU. I think this game I always just take the underdog in this weird rivalry. Just feel like every time these two swamp monkeys, gators, cats, whatever you want to call them, match up. It's always a close game in a not very good way. Very very shitty turnover riddled game. So taking the underdog there. Clemson, I know they faded a little bit after losing to Louisville, but I've been doing pretty well. Just picking Clemson, I think all year, like picking them to lose, picking them to cover. I think I'm actually 100% on Clemson, so I'm just kind of rolling with it. This time, I figure they're gonna cover. UCLA plus 3.5. I like these hook spreads, and then I think Syracuse again is kind of coming off high versus Virginia Tech. I think that could be. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. I take that back. UCLA is playing Washington. I apologize. I mixed up the schedule. So I think these two mediocre Big Ten teams mid off. Again, taking the underdog there. Tennessee, just because I think this is either Georgia minus 10 or Tennessee ML, and nothing in between. At least that's how I look at it. And then lastly, looking at this NBA game, the Ja Morant, Zach Edey, and the Grizzlies beat the Lakers without Anthony Davis last week, I think. But again, with Anthony Davis and actually Dalton Knecht started that game, but again, like when you don't have
3 points
bigs and the defense,
three
it's
points.
kind of hard. It's kind of hard to hire for the wings because you're gonna get abused without a true big in the paint. So, and despite all that, Lakers are a 7-point favorite. So if you know anything about Vegas, for a team that just lost by a 30 rematch, favored by 7, there's a reason for that. So, that there's my 5, I guess, football pick, 1 NBA pick just to spice it up.
Josh, let's go through yours.
All right, so I'm doing 1 extra this week. I'm stretching it out to 8 picks. So, I'm going to go with Clemson against Pitt. Minus 10.5. I think that's pretty much a lock. I think Clemson's kind of figured themselves out. I went through FanDuel. I guess Andy bought in for minus 10 down there. So, great value pick there, Andy. I didn't get the half a point shaved off.
It's minus 10 up here in New York. So let me know if you need to,
shave off a half point. I got you, man. I got you. Utah, man. I could go on a big fucking tirade about the holy war that happened this past week. We won't, this is a Tennessee show, so we won't get down deep in the rabbit hole there. But what a fucking shit show that was. Really bailed BYU out. Big 12 should be embarrassed. I'm glad that Utah's AD, just showed what kind of fucking nutsack he had and just laid it out there and called the league out, called the commissioner out. Sorry for being so animated and vulgar there, but I'm telling you, Utah got J.O.B'd bigger than shit Saturday night. And it was just shameful because they who calls that holding call, So if you had money on that game between BYU and Utah, do yourself a favor and pile all of what you lost double on Utah, because that's my blood bank guarantee. They're going to be out for revenge this week. Arkansas plus 13.5. I think Texas is really feeling themselves right now. I think it's one of those things where Texas is kind of sleepwalking into the end of the season. I mean, the College Football Playoff Committee think that they created college football. I mean, they just baby them and basically have made them the kings of the SEC in year 1. And they don't have a top 25 win. Arkansas is a tricky they're kind of sneaky good or sneaky mediocre. I'll say that. And I'm not just saying that because Tennessee stumbled in a primetime game, a couple weeks back against Arkansas. I really think that they're going to cover that 13.5. Man, I got to go with LSU here. Florida is a fucking train wreck. They're on their 3rd string quarterback. DJ Lagway is not going to play this game. it's just not going to happen. The guy from the Ivy League school transfer kid, I mean, he looked like white. He was licking the white dog shit all night against Texas last week. Texas called the dogs off. Sark could have scored 80 on Florida if he wanted to. Florida is an absolute train wreck. Do not bet on Florida. Stay away from them. God have mercy on your soul, Andy, for even saying that they would cover. But I love you, dude. But that one, and I get your logic. This is typically one of those wonky, rivalry games that you underdog. But I'll eat all the crow. I can stomach next week if I'm wrong. But give me the Tigers. They're going to bounce back after their loss to Alabama. Don't ever miscount the sacred tradition that the University of Virginia has in football. They're not just going to roll over and let Notre Dame, beat them by 23 points. So give me the Fighting Cavaliers by 22, 22 and a half plus 22 and a half. They're not going to get blown out. I think they're going to keep it kind of competitive. And then give me Tennessee, man. We're going to walk in there. We're going to Athens between the hedges, and we're going to do what we couldn't do 2 years ago. Heupel's playing 4D chess. He's got people in the media contradicting him, saying that Nico's got a concussion and he's 100% not playing after Josh Heupel has came out, both days, yesterday and today, and talked about how Nico's definitely going to play. So a lot of conversation about Nico's availability on Saturday. We'll get into that a little bit later, but Tennessee plus 10.5. South Carolina minus 12.5. I hate Eli Drinkowitz. Tennessee hates him too. But I think the boys in Columbia, South Carolina hate him a lot worse. And I mean, let's be honest. Did you guys see what Eli Drinkowitz said about Bob Stoops after the Oklahoma game? Did you guys see that by chance?
No.
So Bob Stoops has been retired, 8 years now? Something like that.
Yeah.
And Eli Drinkowitz wasn't even a head coach 8 years ago. And he's bringing up the fact that Bob Stoops took some shot at Missouri when they were both schools were still back in the Big 12. And, it just shows how in over his head he is at Missouri. He's not a big time coach. And I think, South Carolina is going to do the JOB. Oregon, they're a machine, minus 14.5. They can name their score at this point. Nobody's going to stop them until they run up on somebody in the playoffs. So that's my 8 picks, man. Again, sorry about last week, but if you think you can do better than me, fade my picks.
All right. I'm going with 9 picks, and I just want to note that there's a new second place guy on the totem pole after Josh's performance. You'll notice that second place got a little browner. We got Texas minus 13.5. This is a fucking lock. Josh is going the other side here, but I just feel like Texas is made to beat these like mid teams, but not made to beat the elite teams or former elite teams of the world.
What about Vanderbilt?
Dude, at that point in time, Vanderbilt was not mid. I'm gonna say that.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt was
has
cooking.
always been mid.
But Vanderbilt was ranked, right? Like you can't call a ranked team like mid.
Yeah, you can.
They're like upper quartile, not mid.
Yeah, Vandy was hot at that time.
Yeah.
And Texas, I watched that game.
No,
Texas
man.
really shit the bed in that game. But
Who has Texas beat with a pulse?
Vanderbilt.
Former national
Vanderbilt does
champion
not
Michigan.
have a pulse.
You guys picked Vanderbilt to cover, both of you guys last week.
Yeah, dude, you can't be pro.
I was telling Naveen.
Yeah. Dude, don't tell the wrong guy. If you're gonna tell somebody, tell the guy going 58%. Don't tell the guy going 47. That's going mid.
All right,
there.
next.
All right, I got LSU minus 4.5, and this is only because it's
Nice.
I don't mind DJ Lagway. If it was DJ Lagway, I think this is.
I would go Gators. I'd fade LSU.
Yeah.
Lagway would be for me. That would be the difference maker. So I'm glad that you see the logic of that, Naveen. Smart pick.
No, but
Very
he's
smart pick.
he's expected to play, no?
No, Lagway ain't playing, man.
All right. I'm fading the podcast, going Georgia -10 here. Josh and I talked about it a little last week. Georgia, prior to the Ole Miss game, Georgia was -16.5 in this game. Now it's -10 after it lost to Ole Miss. Plus, you're getting a questionable Nico start in that mix. So I feel like that's a lot of value. 6.5 points and potentially concussed quarterback. Got to take it, in my opinion. Yeah. UCLA +3.5. Andy talked about it. I just love the half point there. Coastal Carolina showed me a little something last week. They're playing Marshall. Penn State -28.5. This is another. Penn State loses versus or doesn't cover versus bad teams, but versus mediocre Big Ten teams. That's their bread and butter. They're playing Purdue. Purdue is the doormat of the Big Ten, so -28 there. Also, just doing it to piss off Josh. Rutgers +5.5. They're playing Maryland. Maryland is dog shit. Just supporting the local state here. Oregon -14.5. They're playing Wisconsin. Wisconsin's not really that good. And just because I do it every week, BYU -3.
But you're not worried about the.
Hold on. So okay, Andy, you know, maybe he's onto something. So I didn't see the latest Lagway news. All right, so I did a little Google action here real quick. It looks like DJ Lagway is expected to play. He's a game time decision. But hey, man, where he's injured, those soft tissue injuries, man, I still don't think he's gonna be worth a damn if he's in there. He's not 100%.
Also, it's good for the pod that we fade each other, so we'll know who's
yeah. Florida's
right.
still a fucking train wreck, though.
Yeah. Let's get into a little bit of a game recap. What did you guys notice from Tennessee, Mississippi State? Andy, let's start with you.
Oh man, bring me the bring me the not concussed quarterback, and let's go beat Georgia. That's all I can say. We got the experienced senior who's been under the system. Hey, I saw that drive where he got back-to-back pass interferences. Hey, that seems like a skill. That's like a James Harden level of foul baiting shit, and maybe that'll work. As much as you hate James Harden, guy gets buckets, right? So maybe Gaston Moore is the ultimate backup quarterback that comes and just wrecks Georgia. Hey, I've seen it before. It's funny because in Korean the word tong means kind of like a bowl or like a canister. So gas tong literally means gas can. So light that shit up on fire. Let's go. I like the name. Boom, we're gonna go explode on Georgia. It's a night game, so we're gonna be at our buddy and the other member of the Lucky Top Sports, Roman's wedding. Oh man, if Gaston lights this shit on fire, it's going down. It's going down.
Hey, Gaston, big time Beauty and the Beast guy here. Guilty as charged. But hey, Gaston got them guns on him, man. He was out there always flexing, slinging it. Hey, man, he got, again, to your point, those back-to-back 15-yarders. I mean, it just looked like, he kind of did in the Bama game. He was just full Leroy Jenkins. Leroy Jenkins. Fuck it. Somebody's down there. Send it, dude. Like, that's what he did.
I love that.
As soon as he went in there, Leroy Jenkins.
And maybe that's why we need to beat Georgia, right?
Yeah, catch them off guard a little bit. And I think that's kind of what Josh is doing. I mean, there's a lot of chatter about Nico not playing tonight. I mean, That's been going on around Twitter the last couple hours. And that's kind of contrary to what Josh has been saying all week since the actual injury Saturday night. But kind of recap the whole game, and we saw some good things. Obviously, Gaston Moore came in the second half, played a pretty good game. Definitely a good game manager there. He didn't do anything stupid to hurt us, and he hit open passes when he needed to. Another good performance from Dylan Sampson outside of the fumble there in the first half. Dylan Sampson's got to stop losing the football.
Mm-hmm.
That's one big thing that I take away from that. And I love the fact that Dylan Sampson is a yard getter. And I mean that in the sense of he doesn't like quitting on the play. He's going to continue to churn, but there's got to be something that where he's, and I'm kind of bullish on saying this because I think it's something that makes him really great and really special as a running back. But he's kind of got to know when to surrender a little bit on when a play is dead. When he's kind of reached the end of what he's going to get out of that run, just you need to go down. And because if you go back and you look at all of the fumbles that he's had over the last few weeks, he's trying to get that last half yard or yard. You know what I'm saying?
Like the Bama game.
Yeah, the Bama game. He did the sweet little spin move that he always does. Put him in the blender, and he gets 5 yards out of that, and then he's trying, for another yard and a half. And then they come over with the club, and then they get that. They get the strip, and he's put it on the ground three games in a row. We did get to see some younger guys get an opportunity because of that. He got put in the doghouse pretty quick. I'm sure Josh is pretty sick of seeing him put the ball on the ground, but you got to keep him in the game. I mean, he's basically carried our offense, over the last 5 or 6 games. So can't discount what he's done, what he means from a leadership standpoint on our team, and his production. I mean, the guy should be honestly in the conversation for a Heisman. The fact that we're a one-loss team, unfortunately to Arkansas, I think that's kind of what's been his undoing. But if we were undefeated and riding high right now, I think he'd be getting a lot more notoriety, which is really unfortunate because he's having a great year. Last couple things, man. Boo Carter showed up and showed out. He had good defensive performance. I think memory serves me right. I think he had an interception in the game, and then he also had some huge plays on special teams with kickoff returns, punt returns. Give me Boo Carter all day over any of the other guys that we've had. We've kind of had a returner by committee this year with Squirrel and who's our Tremont McCoy. That's our other guy that's been back there returning. But yeah, Boo Carter, you saw a lot of flashes of what, kind of athlete he is and kind of what he was promised to us to be. And really excited about seeing him kind of shake out good plays on the offensive end as well from some of our receivers. We saw that big explosive play to Dante Thornton over the side. And, again, Mississippi State, they knew what was about to happen to them, and I think that's why we got those personal foul, pass interference calls. So there were some opportunities out there. And to be honest with you, that last possession, Josh Heupel, if it had been anybody else other than Jeff Lebby on that other sideline, we'd have went over the 40 mark because we could have. He just got let up there and took a knee there with about a minute left at the fourth inside the red zone. So. Those are my takeaways, man. But we're going to need a lot more of, the offensive side of the ball to come through between the hedges Saturday night. We can't just say we're gonna line it up and just run it at Georgia with Dylan Sampson. That is not a recipe to get in there and win. Do I think our defense is going to help us tremendously? Yes. Do I think it's going to be a rock fight? Yes. 30 points. Does it get it done? Probably. But we've got to do something. And if Nico plays, I think that's where if you're Josh, you got to really lay it all on the line. I know it's going to suck after he's coming off of a concussion. But he's got to do a lot of those zone reads. We got to get some quarterback runs going. He just cannot be giving the ball to Dylan Sampson. That's gonna be a really, really difficult matchup for us offensively against their defense. If that's the route we choose to go down. Naveen, pass it to you, man. If you want to recap some more about the game last Saturday, and then kind of give you the floor for the Georgia game.
Yeah, so I think the number one thing I noticed was defense was the defense. Dylan Sampson played like Dylan Sampson. I was impressed by Gaston Moore, kind of in a difficult spot, coming in, replacing a injured Nico. Obviously, I try to put myself in this guy's perspective, right? Like everybody's shocked, everybody's concerned for their season now. Now that the starter's out, takes a big kind of chunk of cojones to come in and sling it. We were talking about how he got the back pass interference, and I think that's really about being aggressive. I think because Gaston is not as good as Nico, there's less control on him. Like I feel like Nico and Josh are Josh has the reins on Nico, but he doesn't really have the same reins.
But he's the whisperer. Yeah, he's the Nico whisperer for sure.
Right. So I think that some of what we're seeing is just them playing out of necessity versus them playing versus a plan. So I'm just thinking if we keep that going versus Georgia, it could be good. I think honestly, like Andy was saying, like you need kind of high variance explosive plays to beat a Georgia. Like if we look at the Ole Miss game, I feel like Ole Miss kind of played a perfect game. Like you can't expect to recreate what Ole Miss did down their throat. Everybody was running on Georgia defense. I don't think that happens 2 times in a row. I do think that we'll get a better version of Georgia at home. And that's the number one thing I'm concerned about with this game is big game on the road. Josh, can he get it done?
Nah, man, it's a hornet's nest, bro. It's going to be a hornet's nest down there Saturday. It's going to be really tough. And I don't say nah, man, in the sense that I don't think that we can go down there and win. I do think we're a very talented football team, and I think our defense is going to give Georgia's offense a fit. We saw what happened. We saw what happened Saturday with Ole Miss.
I think the main thing I watched most of the Ole Miss Georgia game. Carson Beck really played like a pussy.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's the main thing I saw is that Jackson Dart was out there slinging like Gaston Moore.
He was,
and
that's what we need.
Running, he was doing everything. He was like, "All right, put me in the game. I'm trying to win today." Carson Beck was smiling on the sideline, kind of taking it nonchalant. I was watching with our good friend Sean, and he's like, "Why is this guy so relaxed? He's down 12." Like, yo, this is the time it's not time to chill now. I don't think we'll get the same version of Carson Beck if Georgia expects to win. I do expect Georgia to win this game. And I think that's going to create a maximum chaos situation for the SEC. Then you'll have to go to who lost to a better team, math.
Why do you think Tennessee's going to lose? Why do you think Tennessee's going to lose?
Number one, uncertainty at quarterback. Number two, the hype on the road. I think those are the two main factors I'm seeing. The defense will keep us in the game. I don't know that minus 10.
What is it that Georgia's going to do to Tennessee? Are you telling me that Tennessee is in Tennessee's own way?
Yes. Yeah. I think that we'll try to play some kind of conservative run the ball game where we don't score a lot of points. And we need, like Josh, what you said, 30 points. You need to score 30 points. Like once you get into this, let's try and win 17-10. It's not going to work out, in my opinion. And I think we're just way too conservative on offense at this point in time. Some of that is because we don't know how healthy Nico is. Some of that is because Dylan Sampson fumbles once a game. He scores 2 touchdowns, but he fumbles one. So it's like,
Yeah, it's almost like a net
2 steps
loss.
forward, 1 step
Yeah.
back. So it's always positive, but there is some level of indecision there. So that's really what I'm thinking about here. Like, are we gonna show up? Are we gonna play aggressive? And are we gonna play like, let's say we're down by 7 last drive. Are we gonna go for 2? Like, that's the answer I want. That's the questions I'm asking of Josh Heupel, because I don't want to be in that kind of situation with Georgia on the road.
Yeah, Andy, thoughts?
Oh, dude, I think like Naveen captured it perfectly. You need the variance when you're beating the more talented team on paper, and it's like shooting 3-pointers in the NBA, right? Like you go for the higher variance shot, but when it succeeds, it works. We gotta go for the big play potentials, and Georgia secondary is not what it used to be. We saw it get carved up multiple times this year, actually.
Swiss against Ole Miss.
Against Bama, against Kentucky, like, and we saw, and I think, Naveen, you brought up a good point. We need that aggressiveness. We saw how Kentucky was able to beat Ole Miss, but didn't beat Georgia because Stoops was calling too conservatively, punting the ball in the fourth quarter instead of going for it. Right? We need that aggressiveness. You can't play not to lose. You gotta play to win. And I think for playing to win, man, give me the gas can. Give me the gas can. Light that shit on fire and just start throwing. See what happens. I'm ready.
Josh, are we going to see some stuff? I think you hinted to this last week. Are we going to see some plays that have been hidden the whole season against Georgia?
Yeah, I think so, man. Because I'm seeing this kind of work out this week with the injury. Josh is being very crafty, I think, with this whole injury thing. He doesn't have to list Nico until I think Saturday game time. He can keep him in that limbo state. On the injury report and stuff. I have to go back and look at the league rules to be exact, but I think he's being really creative with that. He's trying to play that angle a little bit to keep them guessing, to try to do a little bit of scout for Gaston. But, as I was saying last week, yeah, I think you're going to see playbook opened up, and you really just got to go in there with the Uzi and you just got to empty the fucking clip, bro. Like, just, there is no other game left on the schedule that really matters. Let's be honest. You go in there and you lose to Georgia but beat Vanderbilt, that does nothing for you. I've seen some projections out there that if you beat Georgia and lose to Vanderbilt, you're better off.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, like, you beat Georgia, lose to Vanderbilt, you're better off. And for the life of me, I don't get that.
Because once you beat Georgia, you secure you make your way into the top 5, and then you lose the last game of the season. They're not going to drop you out of top 12. And then you might just skip the SEC championship game altogether, which guarantees your entry into the playoffs.
No, I got that, but in my mind of understanding Vanderbilt, and we're looking at kind of the way the committee's looking at losses versus quality wins. Right. I guess I get that, but I don't know. It's still Vanderbilt to me, so it's still kind of taboo to think about that in that sense.
Also, it's because it eliminates Georgia now with the 3 losses in the conference.
Sure. I don't know, man. We could go undefeated, and they'd still try to find a way to get 9-3 Georgia or 9-3 Bama in over us. You're seeing it kind of play out now. But yeah, I think we're going to see some more splash plays that we've not seen, some wrinkles. Because again, I think we've been running a lot of vanilla offense, man, all year. And it's almost like the Bourbon Bowl when Bobby Boucher showed up in the second half to beat the or lead the Mud Dogs to victory. You know what I mean? You hold nothing back, right? Like the announcers were saying during that game. So you got to hold nothing back. It's basically the end of the year. You're basically playing for your season Saturday. So And Josh Heupel, again, a lot of people want to crown Josh. I know that Tennessee fans are notoriously bad for a little bit of coach worship. I have been burned way too many times to get on the coach worship train. Josh Heupel needs to build some equity in my book with this win because he's good with me right now. I appreciate him going 500 over Florida and Alabama the last 2 years. It's been nice. We haven't even been sniffing this type of success in a long time. I think we've only lost 4 home games in the 4 years he's been here. 3 of those were in his first year. Got a lot of love for Josh. Okay. Does he throw up some duds once a year on the road? Yeah. Losing to a team we shouldn't lose to once. Yeah. I.e. Arkansas. He's got to get something done on the road. That LSU win 2 years ago, it's kind of faded for me. You know what I mean? Great time. Loved being down there with the two of you guys. It was nice emptying their stadium, singing Rocky Top.
Neyland West.
Neyland West. It was great, right? It was an awesome time. But
it's been a long time.
It's been a while. Hit me with some Stained. We definitely need. That's right. We definitely need this win, and I think Josh needs it to be considered on that current day Mount Rushmore. I'm not talking about all-time Mount Rushmore, but like just current state of college football coaches from Mount Rushmore to kind of get up there and be taken serious. Kind of like the Kirby's. Man, we got to get the win done, man. We just got to do it.
Let me ask you this question: is Josh's seat warm or hot if he doesn't make the playoff?
I think it's how he doesn't make it is what determines if it's warm.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
If he goes down there and gets absolutely slaughtered and we got to lick the white dog shit Saturday, might want to turn the heat on just a little bit. You know how like on the some people have this setting in their car, with the heated seats.
Yeah.
You know how you go all the way. It's like the 3 little dots. 1, 2, and 3 is like, your colon's being fucking melted. Yeah. Extremely hot. And then you got, 1, it's kind of, you can feel it. That's probably where I would put it. If we don't make the playoffs this year, but if we go down there and they stomp, they make us, bite the curb. Right.
Yeah.
And just smash us. Okay, put it on number 2. Okay. For me, that's just kind of where I'm at. Because it's kind of shit or get off the pot time. You got to go down there and you got to take care of business. Man, our defense is too good. Go get 25, 30 points and win this game. Come on, man. You got to do it. No doubt. That's right, Andrew. You think hot seat?
Not at all, man. Ice cold. You look
if he doesn't make the playoffs,
at this point, it's still cold.
Ice cold.
Because I think twice.
I think people don't appreciate the 10-2 world. Everybody just thinks they can just hire a new coach and just start winning.
Here we go.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't see it being hot. Not even warm. Not even like room temperature. I think he still has. Let's not also forget that he has the same AD he had at UCF. Like I think that seat is cold as fuck for at least 3 more years. I really believe that.
When we started paying talent fees on tickets, my threshold for patience is wearing very thin.
Yeah, I mean,
you're charging our fans for talent fees. Then, damn it, I want that talent to be hosting playoff games.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fans are gonna be upset, but I just don't think that seed is. I think
We're not
his
talking
buddy
about
Danny.
we're not talking about Danny White. We're talking about Andrew fucking Kim. Is it hot for you?
No,
Are you like, hey, shit or get off the pot?
no. Just because I think this year the committee, I'm really upset about that because I feel like the committee is kind of like doing something that they've never done, which
Expand it to
is
16. Let's just expand it to 16, Andy.
16. I don't think so. I really think 12 is too much too. I want like an 18 playoff, honestly. But what I don't like about what the committee is doing this
ECS.
year is
ECS.
they're valuing quality loss over quality win, which
Yeah,
is something they've never done.
It's super annoying.
Let's get into that actually, Andy. Like, I think that we saw ESPN. We're lucky enough to record this right as the show was going on ESPN. Let's talk about that point because that is exactly what's happening here. I think they rank the teams. We'll just rank the teams the same way they did. So follow along on the left with me. Oregon 1, Ohio State 2, Texas 3, Penn State 4, Indiana 5, BYU 6, Tennessee 7, Notre Dame 8, Miami 9, Alabama 10, Ole Miss 11, Boise State 12. So when we put that
who sticks out to you as the number one fraud on that list right now?
Notre Dame.
I think so too.
Penn State being 4 is kind of funny.
How?
Well, I think what they're doing is really they want to keep them high, just so that they give them that like the whiteout playoff game because one thing you guys learn about ESPN and when Fox has it, Fox fumbles it. Fox puts it at Big Noon like idiots, but when ESPN gets Penn State games, they always put them at night. Same with LSU. You guys see how many night games LSU has every year?
That's fair, and we've gotten a lot of love from ESPN this year. I mean, we've gotten a shit ton of night games. And by the way, I don't think any place looks better at night than Neyland, man. That tee, the orange, the spotlight on it, dude, that's sick. Naveen, I know you had a bit you wanted to go down there when we open this up, so I'll kick it back to you, man.
Yeah, I mean, Andy, like, what is explain the quality loss theory as it relates to this ranking as you're seeing?
Yeah, so if you look at ignore the bracket and let's just look at the rankings for a second, because bracket is just a byproduct of all the conference winners automatically getting the top 4 seeds. So you have Ohio State, who has 1 quality win over number 4 Penn State. So you can say, okay, they have a win over Penn State, therefore, they're ranked. And then they have the best quality loss in the nation by losing to number 1 Oregon. Now, let's look at Penn State. What does Penn State have? Like, who's the best team that Penn State's beaten? Like we clearly know that Penn State, lost to Ohio State, so they have the quality loss, sure. But what is the best team they've beaten? Is Illinois? Really? That's it?
USC,
you got taken to OT by Lincoln Riley, USC. Almost didn't cover versus Bowling Green. Like, what's going on here? Like, what is your best win? Do you even have a ranked win now? Because like ranked at the time of the play doesn't matter, right? So now
apparently, because I mean, NC State in Oklahoma doesn't count for us.
It doesn't
anymore.
count, and rightfully so. So now you look at it, and really, the Penn State number 4 is really propped off by quality loss more than the quality win. And it kind of funnily at least legitimizes Ohio State in number 2. Fine. Number 3, Texas. What is Texas's best win? Vanderbilt? I think it's Vanderbilt.
Michigan?
Is Michigan a good win? Because if we say Michigan's a good win, then Indiana.
At the time, it was.
But at the time doesn't matter, right? Because clearly
Michigan is a bad football team.
Top 5 or something.
Michigan is a bad football team, man.
Michigan is like 5-5, right?
They have been a bad football team since the beginning. Since Jim Harbaugh announced he was going to the NFL, they've been cheats.
Let's look at this, right? 31-12 Michigan, and then they played Colorado State, UTSA, Louisiana Monroe, Mississippi State. Okay, scroll down, Oklahoma. Like really, their best win is Vanderbilt, and now losing to Georgia. So like really, that's how the committee is putting Texas as the best one-loss team, is because their loss is now better. Now, but let's go back to the picture. And now you look at number 5, Indiana. And BYU. Here's where I can't argue the quality loss thing, because these guys have wins, but they don't have any quality wins. And again, like when I say the committee used to value quality wins, like I remember when the committee put Tennessee at number 1 because they said, hey, there's a lot of good teams out there, but Tennessee beat Alabama, Georgia beat nobody, so we're gonna put Tennessee as number 1.
Yeah, Tennessee had beaten 3 top 15 teams by that point in the season.
Right. So they showed us that winning and beating top opponents mattered. And historically, if you think about the only time actually that James Franklin beat Ohio State, Penn State made the Big Ten title game, and the committee could have put Penn State in instead of Ohio State, but then the committee said, hey, even though Ohio State lost to Penn State, they went to Oklahoma and beat them. And, we value that strength of schedule, and we value that quality win that they deserve to be in over Penn State. But like now you look at this, there's no logic. Like Notre Dame, why is Notre Dame there? Like what is their best win? They have a terrible loss. Miami, what is their best win?
I was about to say they lost to NIU, and they've not beaten anybody with a pulse.
And they lost to NYU at home. I mean, same thing for Miami, right? Like Miami, like losing to Georgia Tech at home. Like I think away games are.
Georgia Tech game was in Atlanta, but yeah.
Oh, never mind. Sorry, I apologize. Fake stats. Alabama. Okay, Alabama. Obviously, they have the loss to Vanderbilt and Tennessee, but I guess they have the win still over Georgia, which is I think carrying them, as well as LSU. So I think their place is like solid. They at this point, beating Missouri, beating LSU, beating South Carolina. Now that South Carolina is also ranked, so I can kind of see Bama top 10. I just can't see why Penn State is ranked so high. Texas is ranked so high. Like I feel like if you're gonna just do wins, you put Oregon, Ohio State, and then go right to Indiana, BYU. Or if you're gonna do best wins, then you go Oregon, Ohio State, and then you go Tennessee, Alabama in that order, because those guys actually have ranked wins. Neither Indiana, or actually you might put BYU up even higher, because I think BYU actually has some ranked wins. But Indiana, they've not played anybody within the top 25. Notre Dame, like at the time, they propped it up because they thought A&M was legit. Where's A&M now, right? So it's that brand name. Again, like I just think that this year the committees, like they just don't know what to do with it because of this like 12-team playoff, that they're breaking their own rules that they followed for the last like 6 years or so. And that's why I think like if you miss the playoffs this year, I think it's fine. Like I think it's gonna all correct itself. Like starting next year, like the committee's gonna start to see these flawed schedules and shit. Like Indiana being guaranteed a playoff spot. Like basically, you give me Texas. Indiana schedule, like I would go 11-1. I could coach Tennessee team against Big Ten West and make them go 11-1. Come on now. Like
yeah, so I think Indiana, they 2 weeks from now, or at least 10 days from now, they play Ohio State. So they might be in for a rude awakening there. Or if they come out with a dub versus Ohio State, then that shuts every dissenter down. Mm-hmm. But I want to agree with you, Andy, so much, because like, how is Indiana below Penn State? Can't figure that one out.
Yeah.
And just want to note this first team out here, Georgia. So I think honestly, guys, this is our fucking Super Bowl, right? Georgia, Tennessee. I think if
this is Kirby's locker room material. He's gonna print this shit off.
Absolutely.
And so we're the first team out.
So if we also join the two loss SEC team,
I was about to ask you this question, Devine. Who
yeah.
on this list won't be here next week?
I don't want to say it, but might be a orange team with
Miami?
Miami.
Texas?
Maybe. I don't know. I think it really all depends on this Tennessee Georgia game. This is a fucking massive game, and they will find a way to fuck us. Like that's don't have overconfidence here that beating Bama is some big thing, because it's really not. They're gonna do this.
If we lose to
quality of
Georgia,
loss
if we lose
bullshit
to
and
if
say,
we lose to Georgia, Bama will get in over us, even though we beat them head to head.
100%. Like
Because
that's
Bama and gotta give it to Bama for the same logic that I just used. I can say, okay, we have a win over Bama, so that's one ranked win. But Bama has, the win over Georgia and LSU and Missouri,
Right.
three ranked teams. So
Right.
again, like I just argued that the committee should go by wins. And also, you should look at who you played. This is the same shit that the NBA Western Conference goes by every single year. While LeBron cruised in the East 8 straight years, playing absolutely nobody. It's the same situation. So we'll see. I mean, like it's a night game. It's gonna be rocking. Halpo just kind of shrinking on the road. So we expect that. And again. The only way we go there and beat the fuck out of Georgia is we go for the high variance plays. Like I need
Empty the clip. You
deep
gotta empty the
Nico
clip.
bombs. Yep. I need the 60-yard Brazil bombs. I need the Gaston, light the shit on fire and throw it to the for the PIs. Like I need something.
I need James Pierce I need him to harvest, boys. I need him to harvest some ACLs.
Do you guys think we have a streak going on here that we have not given up more than 20 points all season?
You
Do
think
guys
Georgia
think
gets more?
we keep that?
Nah, bro. They're not getting more than 20 points. We're definitely keeping the streak alive.
I think they get more than 20 points.
How? Where's it coming from? Where's it coming? Okay. What a smart ass answer, Tushman.
Stetson Bennett.
All right, smart guy. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what happens when you win a game is you score more points
than the opponent. Yeah. Okay.
No. I think honestly,
Carson Beck.
I don't know if it's Carson Beck from last week. I 100% agree with you. But if it's
Carson Beck from all season, come on.
Yeah. Carson Beck versus Texas, that's not the guy you want to face. So
Carson Beck from Texas had like three picks though, right? Yeah.
But he found a way to fucking win the game and score 30
because
points.
his defense gave him the ball right back. I mean, again, that's where Nico and Gaston's gotta do a good job, not to give the ball right back.
So maybe let me change my answer here, and I will say it's all dependent on Georgia's defense.
Yeah.
It's
like there was a graphic that I saw on NFL Twitter that said Jared Goff 5 interceptions, victory. Joe Burrow 5 touchdowns, big fat L. And that could be the case here where Carson Beck throws like 4 picks, and we could still lose. Like you're right. Like it depends on Georgia defense,
bro. So like Carson Beck, I mean, he's got almost 2,500 yards passing. His completing percentage is 65%. He's averaging about 7.8 yards a pass. He's got 17 touchdowns, 12 picks. He's been sacked 14 times. So, hey, man, I really don't think he's going to be the difference maker when it comes to this game Saturday. I think it's going to be whose defense shows up.
Yeah, I agree there. All right. Let's close the show out with a little bit of hoops update. I will say that I watched Tennessee versus Louisville. Very encouraging game.
Yeah.
Big time smackdown performed there by the Vols. Good I will say that I mean, looking at the stats, we didn't get our 3 players above 15. Well, we got two 19s from Ziegler and Lanier, 10 from Okpara. Gainey had 9, Phillips had 6, and it was just like very well distributed basketball. Really awful shooting performances by Louisville. So
Bro, they
we
put them
the,
clamps on them,
we
boys.
put the clamps on. Very, very, very exciting way to win. I will say that strategy might not work versus every team, but it worked on Louisville, and Vegas fucked up Louisville. Louisville minus 1.5.
I was about to say Louisville was the favorite.
Yeah, that was a joke. Tennessee won by 22 points. Commanding win. Really good to see. Outside the Vol world, really interesting to see teams like Baylor, UNC, obviously. Kansas, one thing is they're playing a very tough schedule at the beginning. Their non-conference is pretty good. I do like teams.
Who'd Kansas beat last week?
North Carolina.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
They beat Michigan State today. That's another team.
Fog Allen.
That's another team I fuck with. So, really encouraging stuff.
Yeah.
College hoops is heating up, and they do a good job of giving you some kind of marquee action in November.
Yeah.
Keep you excited. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah, very interesting there.
I think we play Montana tomorrow.
Yeah, Rick might be taking an easier route.
Yeah, a little Montana Grizzlies action going on, and Austin P, and then the Tony Bennettless Virginia Cavaliers.
There's Duke, Kentucky happening. Like speaking of November, big matchups
happening right now.
Tennessee doesn't really get into I'd say any real marquee matchup until December 3rd when we play Syracuse.
Okay.
So we play Syracuse. We go down to Miami.
No. You do not go down to Miami. We come up here.
Miami's coming to
MSG.
Yeah. Oh, it's a neutral site. Okay, neutral site game. Oh, okay. You guys going to the game?
I'm gonna try to. If the situation all works. Yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure that's MSG. I remember like looking it up. Yeah, Jimmy V Classic.
Okay.
December 10th, 2024. So that is on a Tuesday. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and Tennessee doesn't.
These are not bad.
$75
for the 200s.
That's not bad at all.
And it's 2 games. It's that game, and then there's a second game.
Okay. Yeah, Tennessee doesn't play another ranked team or they don't play a ranked team in basketball until January 4th against Arkansas. And that's if Arkansas is still ranked. They're number 18 currently. So I mean, a lot of warm-ups for Rick and the team before we get into SEC conference play. So
Arkansas, Michigan is the game after Tennessee, Miami. So could do a little scouting.
That would be a pretty good Jimmy V Classic right there.
Yeah.
All right, we covered basketball. We covered football. We went through a little bit of playoffs. Obviously, main thing is massive game versus Georgia, guys. Like,
bro, I can't remember a game as big, in the last, I don't know, 22 is big. It was number 1 versus number 2. But outside of that, I don't know if I can remember one.
Yeah.
But that had so many implications. Like, I don't know, like the 22 game for me, and I know we're trying to close out, but just entertain me. Entertain me for a minute. That 22 game, man, like there was no way in any of our minds, even if we lost that game, did we think we'd lose to South Carolina on the road 2 weeks later?
That's the thing about 22. It's like
we thought we were locked.
Right. 11-1.
This is complete opposite.
Seed. Yeah.
This is complete opposite. We know like this. We lose.
We're out.
We're out. We're cut. The NCAA CFP. Bye. They're going to boot us out. They're going to tell us try again in 25.
Yeah.
And we'll go to the Citrus Bowl.
All right, guys. Make sure to watch the game. Make sure to interact with us. Like, subscribe, comment. Joshua's 0-7. Fade him.
Fade me, bro. About to go 8-0. Get ready for the comeback. Here we go. Don't call it a comeback.
Don't call it a comeback. Go Vols, guys.
Hey, beat the Dogs. Let's go.
Man.